Toyota CEO thinks EVs are a scam. He literally claimed that EV investment is a potential waste, warning all companies to shut down EVs forever. While Tesla, Ford, and GM are crumbled by political pressure and making more EVs, Toyota just did something for the common man and went against all the rules. Toyota's got a genius idea to buy CO2 credits to sidestep the government and skip making EVs altogether. What if I told you that the CEO of the biggest car company in the world thinks EVs are a big scam? Not just this, but he's also got some shocking claims to back it all up, along with 2 revolutionary new engines that no one could have even thought about. Toyota is set to end the forced EV push forever, putting choice back in the hands of the people. He's been warning us for years, but nobody believed him. And now that the EV market is crashing badly, it all makes sense. But why exactly does he hate EVs? Are EVs a scam? Toyota's CEO for North America, Tetsuo Ogawa, just said that switching completely to electric vehicles is a potential waste. Ogawa's got his eye on what the people want, not just what the government's pushing. He's all about giving the customers what they're asking for, which according to him isn't just EVs. Our story begins with Akio Toyoda, a simple man who took over one of the biggest car companies in the world in 2010 with nothing but one goal in mind: make affordable cars that are reliable. And those are 2 things Toyota is known for. But 5 years ago, something brutal happened in China, and the car market changed forever. Electric vehicles, or EVs, became all the rage. People went crazy about this new tech, just like your toddler that wants to play with that hot new toy. But little did they know about the horrors of EV ownership that I'm going to talk about in a minute. Seeing EVs selling in huge numbers, the US government, or particularly the Biden administration, took notice. Biden knew that we are not ready. He knew that our EV infrastructure is far weaker, and if we started banning gas cars, we would have to rely on China for 80% of our supplies. And with all that knowledge, what did he do? He forced EVs upon the common man. Electric pickup trucks priced over $100,000. Cars with horrible build quality and clattering parts selling for $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. And most of them couldn't even go for 200 miles on a single charge. And while all this was happening, there was one man who saw what no one did. One man who didn't care about profits, but put the customers first. Akio Toyoda, the CEO of Toyota, warned everybody against EVs. He said things like, if the government keeps creating regulations, the regular man will suffer the most. Banning gas cars is not our goal. The focus should be on bringing emissions down, and there is more than one way to do that. Let people choose what way they want. He said that the enemy is CO2, not gas cars. And with EVs, we'll need rare earth minerals like lithium and nickel to make the batteries. But guess what? These rare earth minerals are actually rare and depleting fast, and the US actually gets 80% of its supply from China. So what happens if the supply goes down? EVs get pricier and the common man gets hit the hardest. Biden has even imposed massive fines on companies that refuse to sell electric vehicles. But guess what? Toyota has found a genius loophole in the system, something that allows them to avoid paying fines and keep selling gas cars. But more on that in a minute. Coming back to Akio Toyoda, the CEO who kept speaking against EVs, you'd think that people would praise him for being so honest, right? Well, just a year ago, he was ousted from his own company and replaced by a newer CEO, Koji Sato. Why? Because A, no one wanted the public to know that EVs have big problems, and B, some environmental groups like Greenpeace, the Sunrise Project, and Australia's Smart Engine Council ganged up on Toyota. 54 organizations came together and rallied against Toyota without knowing the true reality of EV ownership. So then came Koji Sato, the new CEO, who pushed Toyota into the future by launching electric models like the BZ4X. But to everyone's shock, he soon realized EVs are not the solution. In the Japan Mobility Show held last year, Koji Sato said that Toyota will not give up on gas cars anytime soon. EVs comprised only 1% of Toyota's total sales, while they sold 9 million gas cars last year. And just last month, Toyota cut its already pathetic EV sales forecast by 40%. The company is even advertising that gas guzzlers could still be the leader in green technology, along with a promise of bringing an ammonia engine with 800 miles of range at half the price of an EV, but more on that towards the end of this video. The government also claimed that Toyota is trying to trick them by calling their vehicles HEVs instead of just hybrids, which is a cleverly used tactic. But then again, it's their gas and hybrid cars that are selling like crazy and actually earning them money. Other companies are actually making a loss on each electric car they sell. Ford lost $4 billion, or about $36,000 on every EV sold last year. General Motors lost $1 billion, while Rivian, an all-EV startup, lost about $28,000 on each EV sold. You'd think Tesla must be doing well due to the massive sales, but even they are facing trouble. Last week, the company lost $80 billion in valuation when Musk said that making cheap EVs isn't going to be possible anytime soon, and that the Chinese might take over the US market. But poor sales isn't the only problem of EV companies. In fact, it doesn't even come close to what I'm about to tell you. Picture this. It's a calm Christmas night, and suddenly, boom! A Tesla Model Y decides it's a good time to light up like a Christmas tree on the side of an interstate in Alabama, but not in a good way. This bad boy caught fire, and let me tell you, putting it out was no small feat. The emergency crew had to use a jaw-dropping 3,500 gallons of water just to get rid of the fire. Unlike your good old internal combustion engine car fires, EV fires are like the boss level in a video game. Tough to beat. Why? Because of a little something called thermal runaway. It's basically a chain reaction where the battery cell gets too hot, and then the neighbor cell says, "Hey, that looks fun," and joins in. And before you know it, you've got a full-blown inferno on your hands. But wait, there's always more. Even when you think the fire is out, the EV battery can be like, ta-da, and reignite hours, even days later. More than 100 people have died in EV fires. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the other big drama, recalls. You know, when car companies have to say, "Oops, our bad," and take back a bunch of vehicles to fix something gone wrong. Hyundai and Kia found themselves in the hot seat with a recall of over 3.3 million cars because of, you guessed it, fire risks. Turns out, brake fluid leaks were causing electrical shorts, leading to fires. Tesla had to recall more than 1 million EVs in 2023 alone, while Ford had to stop the production of their F-150 Lightning pickup altogether. Some more issues are long lines at charging stations, reduced battery life, and the looming threat of becoming stranded with a dead battery. Let's zoom in on a cold day in Skokie, Illinois, where a station with 20 Tesla superchargers was swamped, leaving drivers hovering like vultures for a spot to open up. People couldn't charge their EVs for several hours. Now, add sub-zero temperatures to the mix and you've got yourself a perfect storm. These freezing conditions are notorious for sucking the life out of EV batteries faster than a vampire in a blood bank. Daryl Johnson, an Uber driver, shared his tale of woe, spending hours just to charge his car, only to watch the battery drain quicker than expected. The cold truth? A 2019 AAA study found that cold temps can slash EV range by more than 40% when you crank up the heater to keep your toes from turning into icicles. But wait, the plot gets thicker. Imagine waking up to find your EV battery has gone on a fast overnight from 30% to a measly 16% because the cold has a way of leaching power even as your car dreams sweet electric dreams. Now let's shift gears and talk about reliability, or in the case of EVs, some might say the lack thereof. Consumer Reports threw a curveball with the report stating EVs have almost 80% more problems than their gas-guzzling cousins. And plug-in hybrids? They're in a league of their own with nearly 150% more issues. The main culprits? Battery and charging system troubles, along with some fit and finish issues, making you wonder whether these cars were rushed out of the factory without a final check. Now that you know the real truth about EVs, here's how Toyota plans to beat the government at their own game. So there's this thing called regulatory credits. Basically, governments around the globe are pushing car makers to produce more eco-friendly vehicles, like EVs, by offering them these credits. If a car maker produces a zero-emission vehicle, ZEV, they get credits. The more eco-friendly the car, the more credits they earn. Simple, right? Now here's where it gets interesting. Not all car makers are on the same page when it comes to producing EVs. Some, like Tesla, are all in. They only make electric cars, which means they rack up these credits like nobody's business. Now, Toyota's CEO, Ted Ogawa, dropped a statement that turned a few heads. He mentioned that Toyota isn't planning to go full throttle on EV production. Instead, they're eyeing the option of buying carbon credits to meet regulatory requirements. Why, you ask? Because they believe that by 2030, EVs will make up only about 30% of the US car market, which is way less optimistic than what some others are predicting. This strategy is kind of like saying, why stress about making these electric cars if we can just buy our way to compliance? Now for their future plans. Toyota is secretly building an ammonia engine that promises an astonishing 800 miles of range on a single tank. Imagine, if you will, a world where filling up your car doesn't involve gasoline or waiting hours for an electric charge, but something entirely different. Ammonia, a compound composed of nitrogen and hydrogen, has long been used in fertilizers and cleaning products, but Toyota's engineers have turned their gaze towards its potential as a fuel source. The key to this innovation lies in ammonia's ability to carry hydrogen. Hydrogen, as you know, is a clean fuel that, when consumed in a fuel cell, only produces water as a byproduct. Toyota has also put $5 billion into making more hydrogen refueling stations. So in the end, Toyota's CEO warning against EVs has turned out to be true after all. EVs aren't the only way to the future, and Toyota should definitely be given a chance to stand with the common man and let us choose what we want. Do you think political leaders are forcing EVs upon us? Are EVs a scam? Yes or no? I just uploaded a video about massive news that will shake up the entire EV industry. Check it out if you want to be truly shocked by what's about to happen with EVs.